Sponsored by Match Bingo. Whilst watching Premier League games, you can win cash prizes and support your favourite causes all on one app. Purchasing a £2 card on any football fixture gives you multiple ways of winning money. It's so simple, it's so easy to download, to create your Match Bingo account and to purchase their bingo cards. Watch your card automatically populate events that happen throughout the live fixture and win cash prizes by being the first to complete your card. Scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link below now to get involved with one of the best games available in the footballing world. Welcome back, everyone, to the Top 6 show. It feels like a mad couple of weeks. The Premier League's back with 2 games in a week. The Champions League has been here, and we're literally on the eve of another Premier League weekend again. So we're previewing the games ahead, what's going to happen in the title race. We are going to take a look back at a madness of a Champions League week as well. We're going to be talking and discussing, debating the new offside law and our opinions on that. Plus, Rúben Amorim, the new Liverpool manager, he's played it down. Some of the tier ones are playing it down, but there's a lot of credible sources on the continent that are saying it is done. We can be delving into all of that on the show. I've got a brilliant panel for you tonight. The lovely Kate is back with us again. Man like Paddy Murphy is here. David repping Chelsea. I don't know if he's watching any of the games, but David repping Chelsea is here. Rory talks football back on the terrace and back by popular demand. It's been a long time. Man like Henry Wright. How we doing, everybody? We well?
Good. Yeah, all good.
One of the straight away, Terry, you're spot on. It's 100% a pen. We know it was a penalty to Arsenal. 100% of the amount of people that have gone, I didn't think it was till I watched your video, Terry. You convinced me. I know I'm good at selling things, and do you know what I mean? But I'm sure we're going to touch on that in the show. Remember, any questions you've got, feel free to send your super chats in. We would love to hear from you. King Cantona here says Ten Hag in. United for life. Glory, Man United, Terence. Let the tears flow. Let it rain. But
agreed.
Bye, off to a restaurant, fam. King Cantona, I guarantee you put more comments in during the stream. You watch every stream I do for the entire time I'm live. You watch every upload I do, and you have done for the past 7 years. So I worked it out, right? I did the maths on this the other day for you and Maradon again. So I worked this out. Where is it now? So let's say my streams last hour and a half each, plus an upload of about 20 minutes. So over the course of a day, what we look at there, 160, 120, 100, let's say 200 minutes a day you're watching of the Football Terrace. You times that by 365, okay? That's 73,000. That is 73,000 hours in a year. You've done it for the last 7 years. So that's 511,000 hours you watch the Football Terrace, right? If you divide it by 24, it's a lot of days, bruv. That's a lot of days. It's a lot of days of your life you spend watching me. So off your pop down to the restaurant, because I know you're still going to be watching, my friend. Thank you, and I appreciate it. Hundreds of days. Literally, you probably spend about 6 months of your life watching me, and you pretend like you don't, but I love it anyway. Thank you. There we go. Where to start? I want to start off with the new offside law. Guys, because I think it's needed, and we've all seen it. I think the images here, a new automated, semi-automated system is coming in, just like they use on the continent in UEFA. Much faster, much quicker decisions. Is this the right way to go, or do you prefer it the way the Premier League currently do it, where they draw the lines on the screen in front of us, or do we think doing it automated, quick decisions is the best thing for this practice?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think as a Liverpool fan, and after the shocker at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium with Luis Diaz, I, for one, am very happy to see this system come in, because I think that with the current system, there's still an element of human error and also, dodgy dealings. Like, I think VAR is somewhat legalized match fixing at times. So especially that Luis Diaz one that really lives in my head rent free. I think it's a really good system. It worked very well at the World Cup. And yeah, I think it's a great move.
Yeah, much salt even now for that Luis Diaz goal.
To be honest, like, what I think is going to be funny about it is that everyone's saying let's bring it in now, and then there's going to be a decision where people look at it and go like, well, from my camera angle, I think that's onside, and people are still going to argue with computers. So, like, regardless of what happens, like, you're still going to end up with like this. Like, no system is going to be perfect, but this, I think, is definitely an upgrade on, you know, having people draw it themselves, even though the computer tells them what to do. So.
Well, they reckon it's going to cut the length of the decisions by 30 seconds. But are they going to put the pictures on the monitors? That's what I want to know.
My biggest bugbear is even now you don't see him drawing the lines. David's right. As much as I want it to be automated, when I watch tennis or cricket, whenever they use the sort of digital enhancements for Hawkeye, no one says, yeah, but are they cheating or is it accurate? We all just accept the result. In football, there's something so deep and tribal. Like, I want to, like, even with UEFA, they just tell you it's not offside, and then a minute or two later, they show you the image. We have to be able to get the image on the screen instantly. I feel like that's going to help a lot of people, because if you already believe there's corruption, what stops them from just generating a picture that's onside or offside after anyway? Like, I'm not saying there is, because I don't believe in the corruption arguments per se, but I think they've got to show it in almost real time as they get it. They've got to show it to us. Otherwise, you're still going to get, as David said, there's still calls of people saying it's corrupt and how did they know? But I would love to see them test it on some decisions this year. So, for instance, Garnacho at the Emirates, I would love to see with its automatic, just the other real tight ones where the lines say you're on and off, but the angles make it look. I'd love this system to run it through and just to see. But yeah, look, I think it's a good thing for the game. I think it's a good. I used to love VAR. I hate it now. I think, but not really the offside element. This is better for offside because you've seen Arsenal not have lines drawn, Liverpool robbed of a goal. This takes away a lot more human error, so we'll get as close to accurate as we can be, which means it either is or is not offside in terms of it being a objective decision. The problem I have is with the subjective decisions. It used to be a case in the first few years of let's actually take a look at the replay. Was it actually a penalty, or was it or was it not? And now it's almost whatever the referee does on the field of play, unless it's a gargantuan error, they're not changing it. And I still don't think that's right. I feel as though we should be trying to get the right decisions, irrespective of whether it's a clear and obvious error or just an error, if that makes sense. You know, if the referee was to watch, I'd love to pick a referee's brain and say, how many times have you watched the game later that night on Match of the Day, seen the decision again in slow motion and gone, oh my God, I got that wrong? I bet they all say hundreds of times. So I do feel like an element of re-refereeing should come in, maybe under challenges or something like that, because we do see a lot of dodgy decisions that are not given, just like the other night with Saka not getting a penalty.
I also think I saw it says, or on the Premier League tweet, it says high quality graphics are going to ensure an enhanced broadcast and stadium experience. So if they're going to start showing them on the screens in the stadium, that's a massive upgrade. Because as it is, the amount of times there's an offside decision, you wait like 3 or 4 minutes to get the answer, and then you don't actually see if it's offside or not. So I think that's a massive improvement, or it will be a massive improvement for people that are actually at the grounds.
It's the wait time, isn't it? When you're in a stadium and you're sometimes waiting like 4 or 5 minutes, it just drives you nuts. I think Wolves have had the most decisions go against them in the Premier League from VAR, and not one of them's been shown on a monitor. So from a fan's perspective in the ground, it's like, well, what's actually going on here? I just think that regardless of whatever new system they implement, it's still going to be opinionated, and there's still going to be countless errors coming left and right. It's just about speeding the entire process up. Like, how many times do you hear of big errors in La Liga or the Bundesliga or Italy? I mean, there was that Bellingham one where he scored, I think, a couple of months ago, where the referee blew the whistle, but you rarely hear about anything around the media because it's just managed faster and more accurately. In England, it's just like the refs are just, I mean, let's be honest, we've got some of the worst refs in Europe. Like,
I think that's confirmation bias. I can't lie. I think if you watch the Bundesliga every game,
okay, how many big decisions?
So like 34 games, I'm pretty sure you'd find them. I watch, I haven't watched as much of it this year, but I watched a lot of Dortmund over the years, and there have definitely been decisions where you go like, that is a shocking decision. But like, you won't. But obviously, like, the English press don't talk about it.
Yeah, so, but whereas over here, there's like a big error every weekend. Like, there's probably 2 VAR. I reckon this season there's been one or two a weekend where you're like, hang on a minute, what's going on here? Like controversial, whether it's a penalty, whether it's not a penalty.
Question though, are you watching? Like we watch all the games here, or you're at least sort of like watching things like Soccer Saturday where they're all being spoken about. Are you doing that with generally doing that with other leagues? Are you watching just one game from Serie A, or are you watching 3 or 4 or 5 games?
I don't watch like the Bundesliga and Serie A. I do watch a lot of La Liga. I've watched.
I know we're not good here, but I've only got to think about Man United in Europe in the last couple of seasons. We had a handball that came off a thigh that shouldn't have been a handball against Lissandro. We had Rashford sent off this year for nothing, when literally a day later in the Europa League, Endo did it and wasn't even booked as an example. So we also conceded an offside goal in Europe when against Copenhagen they shot and a player was offside and he literally stood in front of Onana. And just in the Arsenal game, whether you think Saka's was a penalty or not, it was controversial, but then Arsenal should have conceded a penalty by the letter of the law, and people are outraged about that. So I think that if you actually, I don't know, I'm not saying our referees are better or worse. I think generally across the board, VAR isn't used right. I think there's too much, I don't know what the word is, but they don't want to re-referee games. And I almost think, well, every other sport that has video refereeing uses it to re-referee games. Rugby does it perfectly. And it still gets boozed sometimes because they don't agree with the decision. But you hear it and you understand it. In cricket, they re-referee. It's like, okay, was it LBW or not? Well, the lines say it was. Therefore, okay, you're out. Where over here, it's almost being used now as a way of, okay, let's try our best to defend the referee's position as opposed to getting decisions right. And that's the bit for me that frustrates me. But the new offside rule, very, very good indeed. This here from Harold, he says, should only check goals when there is a suspicion of an error, like a proper cause, not look at minuscule errors. I want refs to ref auto offside is okay.
I do think VAR shouldn't be able to look for things that no one on the field has seen at all. So I think it should always be the ref should be saying to the VAR, I think I might have seen this. Can you check it for me? Or the linesman can say, I think I might have seen this. Can you check it for me? If no one on the field has seen it, and that can even include if players are running up to the referee and saying, this has happened, please check it. And then the ref can go, okay, can you check that? Because they're claiming it on the field. But if none of that has happened, I don't think that they should be checking for additional things that no one else has seen. I think that's when it goes too far.
Again, I don't think so. I think you just end up you'd end up with more situations where things go on where it's like, well, you effectively end up with a situation where you've let the cat out of the bag. So like everyone knows that it's always looking. So if you then take that away, people are going to be like, well, you took this out and you were already doing it. So why have you done that? Because you might end up with what we're asking is the referees who we all think are not good enough to do their job anyway. We're asking for them to have effectively less opportunity to make the right decision.
But that happens in other sports and it's fine. Yeah, but think about other sports. Cricket, for example, you get 3 appeals. If you've used your 3 appeals, on the 4th time, you can't use it. Even if so the Hawkeye can be looking at it and going, that's out. The umpire hasn't given it. You've run out of appeals. And there's nothing you can do.
Yeah,
so it doesn't work in other sports.
I'm saying that would be, for me, that's probably the best solution. But I'm saying if you were to just keep everything the same, but then go like, oh, you can only check something if I tell you to do it, then I think you'd run into a situation where
yeah. See, I get where you're coming from, Rory. I disagree in the sense of I just view the VAR should be no different to the 4th official or the linesman, or the referee's assistant, as they call them now, and they should be looking for infringements almost the whole time. As an example, if something looks like the ball went out, if it looks like a foul. But knowing it's there, I think, stops a lot of things in football. For instance, I know there's contention over Harry Kane the other night with the elbow. But one thing you don't see very often anymore is people punching and kicking each other off the ball because they just know they're going to be sent off now. So knowing that VAR is always looking has sort of stopped that element, which, by the way, I miss a little bit of the fighting on a pitch. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't remember the last time there was a proper scrap on a pitch. It's frustrating. I used to love one of those, but... Listen, viewers, let us know what you think and feel about the VAR change in the comments section below. Jamal here said Raya played the ball when the whistle was still being blown. Did he? Oh,
I don't know. Apparently it's not even an actual rule. If you look at the rules, the referee doesn't have to blow the whistle for a goal kick or a throw-in to be played. So technically you don't play to the whistle on a goal kick or a throw-in according to the laws. But yeah, I don't know.
In fairness, what I will say about Arsenal's one, well, Bayern's penalty claim against Arsenal is, I don't know about you lot, I got stick for not talking about it in my match reaction, but we did, but about an hour and 10 minutes in, because no one knew about it until Tuchel spoke. No one was tweeting about it. It wasn't in the comments. And when Tuchel mentioned it, suddenly, and it's one of those, if Tuchel hadn't have said anything in his interview, I don't think anyone now would be looking for it, if that makes sense. So it was one of those weird ones where no one picked up on it in the game. And rivals watch each other's matches like hawks. Like no one picked up on it, which I suppose is a good point that you're making there. I mean, I thought once I saw the replay, I did think to myself, Jesus Christ, it is. But then someone sent me a clip today. That's literally how Arsenal have taken about 30 or 40 goal kicks this year, like identical. So I don't know. It's the argument. It's like a courtroom, isn't it? But it was a mad game. It was a mad Champions League week, to be honest with you. Paddy, what did you make of this week's games? Who do you think's come out on top?
It hurts me to watch the Champions League every time we're not in it. I hate watching the Champions League, but I mean, you have to at this stage. Yeah, it was unbelievable. I think I don't know. I think all kind of teams have a claim. I think Bayern have done well to get a draw at the Emirates. I don't think many people gave Bayern hope. I was predicting Arsenal and I was predicting City as well. But I think Bayern have done well to take it back to the Allianz against a very top of the league Arsenal side. So Bayern can be happy, I think. But they probably could have won that game, especially when before Sané was taken off. Both games were absolutely insane, though. Especially obviously the one in the Bernabeu. It's just nice to see it all in contention going into the second legs. Keep Man City and Arsenal as busy and as stressed as possible in this title running. But I do back both English teams to get through big time, I think.
You back Arsenal to win at the Allianz?
Get through, maybe not win, but I think it'll be close. I just think Bayern aren't that great. They haven't been that great. And Tuchel
they can rest everyone though at the weekend. They're out of a title race and they play on Saturday. They can rest probably 9 players, whereas Arsenal, I know Villa play on Thursday, so people are going to say that, but it's still a tough game. And Villa are very unpredictable. 1 minute they're losing to us like convincingly, the next minute they're beating Arsenal and City in the space of 5 days. So I'd go in and say on the base of things, Bayern are favourites, but we know how good Arsenal have been this season, so it wouldn't be like
not for me.
But bearing in mind, okay, so look at it this way: Bayern have an extra day's rest. They're out of a title race, so this game on Saturday is completely irrelevant. So they can rest Kane, they can rest Kimmich, everyone can have essentially a breather. Whereas Arsenal have got to go again, and Arsenal can't afford to rest 4 or 5 players because if Villa turn up at the Emirates. And let's say hypothetically Villa win, Arsenal are going to be pulling their hair out.
But Henry, they're not good. So
yeah, that's the thing.
It doesn't, for me, it doesn't matter. But I do have to say this: on Monday, I told everyone who watched this show, be patient, just wait, it's gonna happen. And then Gabriel did what Gabriel does, and he might do it again because that's what he does. So I'm gonna sit here patiently and just wait for it to happen again. But just know I was right. And it will happen again. But I'm still predicting Arsenal to beat Bayern because they're just not a good team. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not having this. Arsenal played badly.
Okay, they're still not a good team.
Arsenal played badly. Bayern Munich played the best that they've played in a while.
They didn't have any fans
at
all,
all. There's a draw.
It still was 0 fans.
If Arsenal play well, they beat them. It's that simple.
Yeah, but Arsenal is there an argument, though? Is there an argument that Arsenal haven't played unbelievable in any of the knockout games so far? They haven't been that great home and away against Porto, and you're going to the Allianz. This isn't.
Quite frankly, I'm not fussed. This is the thing that's been getting to me over the past couple of days. Are Arsenal a big club or not? I'm really confused right now.
Well, this is where they've got to prove it. If they want to be a big club, they've got to beat Bayern.
For me, these lot talk like they're one of the best teams in Europe. But whenever you put the standard on them that they are one of the best teams in Europe, they suddenly go, "Oh my God, why are you putting that standard on us? Are you a big team or not?" Like, honestly, decide, please, because I can't have it. You can't have it both ways.
I think though you can say Arsenal are a good side and then comment on their lack of Champions League pedigree. I think a lot of Arsenal fans will say that when they're talking about it. Like, yes, they're a great side, but that Champions League pedigree and the prestige in the competition does count for a lot. Real Madrid win ties sometimes purely because they're Real Madrid and the prestige and the Bernabeu gets up. So I think you actually can. It's one of them rare instances where you can like have both ways.
When Chelsea are in the Champions League, whoever we play, I expect us to at least give it a go and give a good game. Like if we're losing, we are losing to like an elite City team or elite Real Madrid team. This Bayern team is the worst Bayern team I've seen in the past 12 years. They're awful. So why are Arsenal not expected to beat them?
There's a couple things. There's a couple things.
They're not
as bad as people are making out.
They're really not.
They lost 3-2 to Heidenheim.
They would smash Chelsea all over the place. They're not a bad team.
But we're a worse team. What's your argument? What's your argument?
Highlighting one result, which was before a big game where they'd already conceded the league, so just actively weren't trying.
The fact that they lost to Dortmund for the first time in 10 years at home. 10 years.
Yeah, but the point is, in 2017, 2019, and last season, all three of those seasons that were within the last decade, they were on fewer points at this stage of the season than they are this season. Like, Bayer Leverkusen have done so well that 16-point gap makes it look far worse. Bayer Leverkusen are already on 5 points more than Bayern Munich won the Bundesliga with last season. If Bayern win 4 of their final 6 games, they end up on more points this season than last season. There's a
massive games unbeaten. So like,
yeah, exactly.
You don't.
Well, no, I'm not saying that they're a good team, and I still think that on paper we should go through the tie. But I don't think they're as bad as people are making out. And I do think when it comes to, there's a difference between being a big club and having a group of players that are experienced in the Champions League, and quite simply, we don't have a group that are experienced in the Champions League at the moment. And there's nothing wrong. Look how long it took City to win the Champions League, even when they were definitely the best team in Europe. It still took that group time to do it because they had to go through those experiences. You look at the way that some of those Bayern players were playing on Tuesday night. Manuel Neuer's flicking it up inside his own box and lobbing it over Havertz. Like, that is an experienced player that had no nerves whatsoever in front of an entire stadium with no of his own fans. Like, there is a difference, and that will have an impact on the game in Munich.
Every time City got knocked out by someone, and it tended to be someone inferior to them, everyone was like, "You've bottled it. This is poor." So why can I not say the same thing for Arsenal?
You can, but you can't say Bayern are an awful team. I'm sorry. They've got Sane, Musiala, De Ligt, Kimmich. I mean, you're disingenuous by saying that. That's absolute waffle.
But you're saying those names haven't been working all season.
Come back, Harry.
Harry, who loves to score against the Goons as well, you know. I just think
season. So why now?
I think it's a really salty attitude to say Bayern are shit because you're not in their position. I think it's really salty because I think they're such a good European team as well, David. You can't. Champions League sides can be like Real Madrid. It doesn't matter how their season goes. You know, when it comes to Champions League, they're going to perform, and I think Bayern are like that. I fully expect Bayern to beat Arsenal. After watching it midweek, I think Bayern will go through. And I don't think that's you can say Arsenal are bottlers because that happened. I just think Bayern are a top team. Whether you agree or not, that's up to you. But I watched them play. I mean, Sané's pace absolutely roasted Arsenal. Arsenal, to me, looked naive and out of their depth against Bayern. I think they either underestimated Bayern or overestimated themselves. I'm not sure which one. But they definitely didn't expect it to be the way it played out.
Gnabry ain't scored a goal since like October.
I think that in that game, it was just. I think it was just Arsenal didn't expect Bayern to be as organised as Bayern were. The way they set up with the 2 in front of the back 4, Goretzka was literally unreal. But it was Arsenal's own doing which lost them the game. There was so much space in behind, and Sané, very experienced player as well as Gnabry, just took advantage of that, and Arsenal. I thought at half-time they should have brought on Tomiyasu. I got bringing on Zinchenko meant Rice could go further, but in a one-on-one, I mean, Sané was going to eat Zinchenko on toast. And then when he took him off, I thought, that's it, Arsenal will go and get the win. But Coman come on and hit the post and probably should have scored. But I just think the way Bayern tactically approached the game, the way they were organised, and Arsenal's naivety and so much space in behind, I don't think Arsenal do that in the second leg. But this is the Allianz. Like, people are talking about you're going to Turf Moor. They've won the Champions League 5 flipping times or whatever it is. They've still got Harry Kane. Muller will probably be involved in the second leg. Look, anyone on this tape, anyone on this panel would take Harry Kane right now. Anyone in Europe would take Harry Kane right now.
Darwin Núñez, clear.
I want you back. I want you back for good. You guys are so desperate. Let him go. Let him go.
I have let him go. Like I'm over
whatever
it.
You say, whatever. And then I'm going to mean that. I bet you see that in the mirror.
Looking to get 20 goals next season. But yeah, like
Bayern Munich probably are the favourites from now. In the other game, Man City Real Madrid, I thought another brilliant game. The level of goals in that from everybody was great. There was a little bit of luck to a couple of Madrids, but it's going to be same in the next game. It's going to be City are going to be the aggressors. Real Madrid are going to pounce on the counter attack. Paddy, how do you see this one playing out? Because most people have City as favourites, but it doesn't look as one-sided as it did last season. So could there be a different outcome?
Definitely a fair point. The gap has definitely closed between last season and this. But for me, City at the Etihad would be favourites against any team ever. You know, they're just so good. I think it's going to be close. But I do think City will edge it. Just for me, I think they've to be fair to them, they've made the Etihad a fortress. And when you have the Rodri record there, hasn't lost in a year and a bit now, it's absolutely absurd. So, yeah, I just can't see past City. I would be very, very shocked if they got knocked out. Not having a Man City in the semi-finals of the Champions League would be a bit odd. So, yeah, and I actually hope they get through as well. I hope both Arsenal and City get through. But I'm backing City. Not backing, but I think they'll win.
But rivals, innit? Your biggest rivals.
No, but not this again. Them staying in helps Liverpool in the league, I think.
Yeah, I've heard Jamie Carragher say that as well. Does anyone see a Madrid dagger? Eric, you do, Kate.
I do, yeah. I just think Madrid know how to win in the Champions League, and I'm backing them to go through. I'm backing both the Madrid and Bayern to get through, and I hope they both get through. I don't want either of them to get. I want them to concentrate. I want City to concentrate on the league. Liverpool, I suppose, to concentrate on the league. I don't care if Arsenal go through because if Arsenal come up against Real Madrid, I think Real Madrid would destroy them anyway. But I do, as much as I think City were brilliant, and the whole game was magnificent, I am having Madrid to go through on the night. It will be close, but I think they'll edge it. I don't know if I'm the only one who thinks that, but that's what I think.
I think it all hangs on Kyle Walker. I think if Kyle Walker plays, I back City to win. I think if he doesn't play, I think Madrid could nick it, because I just think Pep didn't adapt to not having Walker at all in terms of playing a slightly less aggressive high line. And without his recovery pace, like the rest of that back line's not rapid. Rúben Diaz was struggling with it. So, yeah, I think if Kyle Walker doesn't play and Pep tries to play the way that they would always play at the Etihad, like there is so much space in behind them for Vinny and Rodrigo, and I could see a couple of daggers, but I don't know. I think Walker might be fit. So
David's going to tell us all now that Real Madrid are shit, probably. Come on then, David.
No. I just have a feeling it's going to go penalties.
Oh.
I don't know. I've just got this feeling it's going to go to penalties, and then at that point, it's like who goes first, who's kicking out what side. That's normally
City win. I think City win 2 or 3-1. I think they'll get early goal. Real Madrid will come out, and then Guardiola will just do what he does. I mean, what was it last season or the season before? Didn't they score 4 at the Etihad?
Yeah.
But Real Madrid on the counter attack are probably the best team in Europe with Vinny and Rodrigo. Like they're gonna.
Yeah, City are the favourites for me. I think it's different from last year though, because I know City scored 3 goals. 2 of them were wonder strikes. But Haaland isn't the potent man that he was last year. KDB, they play KDB, they attack better, but they're more susceptible to being counted on or robbed of the ball in the middle. Walker, if he's back, the recovery pace is going to be huge. If not, they're going to get everybody this season, even with Walker in the team, though, has had so many counter-attack opportunities. Everybody has. And the 2 teams, I just think, strangely enough, that haven't capitalized the most on it was Man United and Arsenal. Arsenal didn't have enough pace in their team, in their game up there. If they had started the game with more pace, I think Arsenal would have gone on to win. That's the vulnerability. However, the thing with City, they just score so many goals at home. Nobody, but barring Arsenal, have stopped them there in something like the previous 57 games. So I've got to edge Man City to go through from this point, and that's no disrespect to Real Madrid, but listen, next year with Alphonso Davies and Mbappe being added to the mix, again, I want to see it again. I want to see it over two legs again next year, just to watch the sort of contrast of styles up against one another. But yeah, I'd have to go with Man City from that point. And how about the other games? Obviously, Barcelona maybe shocked a few people by winning away against Paris Saint-Germain. And Mbappe last night, I thought was absolutely tosh. He
wasn't even involved in the game. Like, but by the way, Donnarumma is absolutely awful. Like 6'6", 6'7". How tall you are? How you're not claiming that corner? Like, I remember when people were talking about, oh, he had his debut at AC Milan at 16. I couldn't give two craps. He is pony. He's absolutely horrendous. One of the best keepers in the world. And Christensen, who comes on for 2 minutes, scores. Like, and everyone wrote Barcelona off. Everyone thought we'd see an Mbappe masterclass when it was actually Rafinha who turned up. Like, I think Barca go through. I think Luis Enrique, like, nah, I can't see him beating Xavi. I think in Spain, I think they'll win. I think they'll win 2-1, and Barca go through. And this is like the worst Barca team we've seen in 10 years.
As a neutral, it's brilliant that every single tie is kind of on a knife edge. You could argue any of them could go either way because they're all really close, and I don't think anyone really expected that either. I didn't expect Barca and PSG to go that way, but we'll see.
Yeah, that late goal from Dortmund as well just keeps them in it, and they almost equalise as well right at the end. And playing in Dortmund is a very different affair for Atletico. So I'm actually going to go with Barcelona and Dortmund to go through. Actually, I'm going to go.
Preferably, I would want Dortmund to play Barcelona. Actually, no, I lied. I'd rather Dortmund play PSG. PSG are awful. Again, awful in the Champions League.
If there's anyone though,
that team does not work. I don't know what it is. PSG is the one team I will actually say, like, whatever it seems to do in the Champions League, whatever's going on at that club, they just can't do it. And I don't know why, but they just can't do it.
No soul. I don't know.
I mean, Chelsea won 2 Champions Leagues, and apparently we've got no soul, so I don't think it really matters. 2 more than any other club in London.
I was going to say that if there's any team that can stink it out at Dortmund, it's Athletic. It's Atletico. I think they'll go through. I think it will be 1-1, and Athletic will go through from the previous result. Like Simeone's just got this knack of like just putting everyone on the penalty area, rolling on the floor, and just scrape through by the skin of his teeth.
The thing is, if everyone thinks that City are getting to the final, I feel like Atletico are the only team on the other side that can stop him. I think the other two are too open. Like Dortmund and Barca play such an open style, City will ruin them. Maybe that's just me. I don't think they're strong enough in that style beat Man City. So I don't want City winning this Champions League. I don't want them to have the possibility of back-to-back trebles. Nobody should want that, in my opinion. So yeah, I just got a feeling. I got a feeling Dortmund, because Dortmund dominated them yesterday for large parts, and they actually missed a lot of opportunities. And I just feel as though
2 mistakes that
just two mistakes cost them. So I just feel like if you played that game again, I think it would play out the same way in terms of the dominance to Dortmund, but those mistakes wouldn't happen necessarily again from Dortmund. So yeah, I'm just narrowly going with a Dortmund win on that one. But viewers.
Sorry, I was going to say the mad thing is with the bookies, Dortmund are the rank outsiders to win the Champions League at 40-1. You can get on Dortmund to win it. City are clear favourites at 7-4, with Arsenal second favourites, like second at 6-1.
Arsenal are second favourites with the bookmakers. Crazy, isn't it?
But they can't beat a Bayern Munich team. Oh no.
Harold here says Mbappe is overrated, declined since 19 years of age.
No chance. Crazy statement. Scored a hat-trick in the World Cup final, by the way.
And still didn't win it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank God he did. Yeah.
I think put Mbappe in a better team and you'll see the best player.
Yeah, it's that PSG project has failed. Like all the money they pumped into it, and they've still not completed the remit of the Champions League. And I just think the league is too weak to ever really mount anything. But if you look at the PSG team now, the minute Mbappe leaves, they are so painfully average. It is scary. So I'd wonder if Qatar will look to take their funding out of there and go elsewhere, because
Well,
it's
they did.
definitely a failed project.
They tried to buy a club in Manchester. Well, they tried to. They didn't.
Yeah, that would have been the making of you guys. I think you're still in a decent place with the system that with Ineos and stuff. But yeah, if Qatar got their hands on Man United, they would have been back something shocking big time.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I do agree. I think the league that you play in plays a really big part in terms of sharpening the tools. I think PSG go through so many games in the season that don't test them. I just don't think they're sharp enough. You know, they're not sharpened to the right level at certain points. It means every single season in the Champions League, even when they got to the final, they didn't turn up in it. So it's literally every single knockout stage of every single Champions League for the past 10 to 12 years, they've either collapsed or not turned up. And that's, you know, Chelsea, of course, you know, got to the top because of, you know, big money that came in. So did City. But you saw gradual improvement and they both went on to win it. The fact that PSG have had money for as long, really, and they haven't, I know they got to a final, but I still feel like the statement of it doesn't feel like they've come close to winning it still. Because they just didn't, if that makes sense. Although they're in the final, it's like with Spurs. You guys didn't turn up in the final. So as much as you got there and it was a great run, it never felt like
a little dig in there, didn't you?
No, it's not a dig. It's the truth, right? So when Liverpool got beat by Real Madrid the year before, Madrid won. There was some mistakes from what's his name? Karius. But Liverpool were in the game and they laid a glove and there was a time where it was 50-50 and then Bale came on and just scored 2 ridiculous goals, right? So they were in it. What I mean is, like, Paris Saint-Germain have got to a final and it's like they weren't there. And it just makes me look at them as in terms of their European heritage. It just feels like they're not even an almost or a has been. There never was at the elite end of European football. And yeah, I think they might end up looking to put their money elsewhere because I don't know what they do now after Mbappe. You know, there's not.
I actually think this, in a weird way, could be a blessing in disguise because their entire club for the last 8 years has been about egos in the dressing room, whether it's Neymar and Mbappe. Then they tried to sign Messi and have that front three. I think now they just need to find their identity again. I see on CBS a PSG fan called in. I think it was Parisian Londoner. And he was saying that this is the best thing that's ever happened to Mbappe leaving. Because now everything's always about Mbappe. And when Mbappe doesn't perform, PSG didn't perform. No, look, for instance, like last night. If they can just get a relatively good team together and then lay the foundations and build from there, I don't think Enrique is the right manager to do that. He's kind of got a pedigree for winning in the biggest competitions. But I think right now it's just constantly give the ball to Mbappe and let's just hope he does something. Right, I just think they need to just get a few other players in and around so they're not just reliant on one player.
I do think the Mbappe saga has been poisonous for them. Like, it's been dragging on for so long now. He's getting paid so much of an ego to Mbappe. As much as he's unbelievable, his ego is dangerous. But at the same time, like, you're still losing that quality. So whether they can get a squad good enough together, I don't know. But that team stinks. They need some serious signings in the summer. Don't know who they can get, but yeah, Mbappe, it will be good to get him out, but at the same time, you're also losing his quality, so they'll need to replace him.
Ultimately, Mbappe just wasn't worth the money. Simple.
Yeah, no, listen, you're not, again, from a league point of view,
when I look at it, it's just like, you signed this guy for like 170 mil, whatever it was, something ridiculous. Right, and you were already winning Ligue 1 and you were doing it quite comfortably. And then ever since he's been there, you've kept winning Ligue 1, but you haven't got better in the competition you've signed him for to get better at.
True.
So, like whether he was there or not, it didn't really matter.
No, I agree with you on that. Some super chats here. First one says, no Arsenal fan with a brain thinks that Allianz is like Turf Moor. We all know it's going to be a tough game away. That's why we wanted the lead to go into it, is what Dan says. Gunnar here says the irony of bottom right, stick it to Arsenal. Is his name made up of? His name's made up of 2 Arsenal legendary strikers. Oh yeah, Henry Wright is your name. How unfortunate!
Yeah, it's not the first time I've ever heard that in my life, is it?
Please tell me your middle name's Bukayo.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, Gabriel Martinelli Wright is my middle name.
There we go. There we go. I love it. Terry, what's Arsenal's record in Germany? I don't know.
Not great.
Rory,
Not great. I'll tell you that.
There we
Not
go.
great.
Rory walks in with all the facts that show Bayern a similar levels to last year in the Bundesliga. David's with zero reply other than they're bad.
Well, no, they've been dysfunctional all year. Their board is... People talk about Chelsea's board being an absolutely dysfunctional state. Bayern Munich's board is in a dysfunctional state, right? Their manager's already going at the end of the season. So everybody knows they're getting sacked. Nobody likes their manager. None of the players like their manager. He's upset the core of Bayern Munich fans. Bayern Munich players at the club. And if you annoy those guys, regardless of who you are, normally you just get sacked straight away. So they are not in a good spot right now, flat out. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't know what I'm talking about. I do. I probably watch more Bundesliga than most people. So
I hear you. Tuchel won the Champions League with a mid-Chelsea team, reached the final with PSG. Also, Bayern got nothing to lose. They can make them a very dangerous team, in my opinion. It's a fair point, honesty.
Yeah.
David is waffling as usual, getting in his feelings. Gabriel moment was a misplaced pass that doesn't constitute a bozo moment.
If the referee was doing his job and he picks up the ball, no one would have been showing their face. So it will happen. Be patient. I am patient.
Charles here says that players knew they'd be sent off by VAR for punching until Maddison punched Yates last week and VAR said no worries. That's true, actually. I forgot about Maddison punching Yates in the stomach. Tevin here, who's a gooner, says, why are we acting like a team that can have 5 or 6 of their players walk into our Why are we acting like a team that can have 4 or 5 of their players walk into our first 11 are crap? This is incorrect. Their point tally in the league is better than 17, 19, and 2023 seasons when they obviously won the league. Thank you, Tevin. And everyone, tell me the truth. Nobody had my Barca winning this, including me, but I'm glad they're proving me wrong. Yeah, Debbie, Barca were good. I thought Barca were good. And Pedri's pass when he came on, Jesus Christ, it was amazing. We're not going to preview the Premier League games coming up this weekend, but lots of stories about Rúben Amorim agreeing to become the new Liverpool manager. He himself, of course, has played it down, and he said what we all expected. I'm still the sporting manager. I've got things to win, and he has still got things to win this season. How do you see this, Paddy? Do you believe he's going to be your new manager now?
Yes. Listen, it doesn't matter who comes in after Klopp. It's going to be a downgrade, and it's going to be a tough process, tough time of transition. But there isn't a large plethora of managers out there that, are worthy of the Liverpool job or all the top jobs. But I think Rúben Amorim has done a really good job at Sporting. He plays a nice brand of football. So it looks like it's going to be him. We were all hanging our hats on Xabi Alonso. We were hoping it was going to be him. And I think that would have been a lot easier to take because it's an ex-player coming back. But that's not happening. I think he's dead cert for Madrid next year. But yeah, Rúben Amorim's tricky Reds, hopefully going to reclaim the Premier League next year or retain it, shall we say? So, yeah. Listen, I'd be lying here. If I sat here right now and told you I've watched a lot of sport in Lisbon or Sporting Club de Portugal, I would be lying. But from highlights and everything else, he does play a nice brand of football. He seems to have that dog in him too. I don't know if you've seen the clip of him on Twitter giving Pepe some abuse, so we like that. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be him again. As long as it's not De Zerbi, I'm happy because he's second favorite, I think, and yeah, that would be a major yikes. So yeah, I'm all aboard Amorim in that case.
Anyone got a thought on him? Good enough? Not good enough? Will Liverpool go backwards with this decision or forward?
I think it'll take time. I've watched a fair bit of Sporting recently because I've just been watching Victor Gyökeres, and I think Liverpool have got quite a few of the tools already in their squad that makes sense for Rúben Amorim, even if he wants to implement the back three, which I would guess he would. I'm looking at players like Konate, can definitely do what Diomande does at Sporting. Even Darwin, to an extent, is similar to Gyökeres, just needs to sort his finishing out. I think the midfield too will be tricky. I think they need to go and sign someone to go alongside McAllister. in that midfield too. But I look at it and I'm like, I can see it making sense. I just think it will take a little bit of time. And I think, I think almost the difficulty he has is that because Liverpool right now have a title contending squad, if they're not contending for the title last season, then like by default, he's taken them backwards. But I don't really think that should be how it's considered. So he should be given at least 2 years. He should be given realistically the ability to replace at least Mohamed Salah and Van Dijk, who I think by that point will be getting to the stage where they need to move on. And then you can probably reassess it in a couple of years. But the chances of them actually competing for the Premier League next season, I mean, if he does do that, would be remarkable when you look at what's happened to Arsenal, to United, when they've lost those kind of long-term managers that have really instilled like a full philosophy in the club. So yeah, it's a tough gig, but I think it's quite exciting.
I do think that no matter what happens, if whoever is brought in, they will get time, because there would be a danger of the United effect where, listen, obviously Ferguson is levels above Klopp. Like it's a different kettle of fish, but it's similar in terms of he's our longest serving manager. And I think the fans will be patient. We're not going to expect miracles, but I think you're right, Rory, in saying because we're challenging right now, if we're not challenging next year, it's going to be seen as an automatic, decline. But it's interesting. I'm worried. Like I just want. That's why I just want to win it this season. Let's just win the Premier League this season. I'm happy. Honestly, if I'll fill my boots, I'll be satisfied, because at the end of the day, we've won one Premier League in my entire lifetime. So I'm not going to be greedy and expect to be challenging. I think it's going to be very hard when you have state-backed nations, like state-backed clubs like City involved. And I think Arsenal are going to be around for years to come. So let us just get this last one more with Klopp. And you know what? Whatever happens next year happens.
Do you think the job's a little bit like... Sorry, Scott and Terry. Do you think it's a little bit premature? Because I think he's only managed, what is it, Braga and Sporting? And he's not even 40 yet. Like, is it a bit... It's going to take him a while to implement his 3-4-3. I think you got to sign, I think probably 3 players in that. I think Rory's right. You got to get someone next to McAllister. I see someone in the chat said maybe Trent goes there, but I think he's not strong defensively enough to do that role. Is he the sort of profile you want? Is it a manager that do you want someone to come in who's kind of like won titles before in the top 5 leagues, got that experience in Europe, or do you kind of want a younger manager like Arsenal have done with Arteta and just give him time?
I think Arteta is a good example. Arteta was even less experienced by the time he had that big role. I just think the nature of the game and how it evolves, I think it evolves so quickly. Any really successful manager of years gone by has already kind of been and gone there. Like a Mourinho, for example, that wouldn't work at Liverpool. You kind of need that up and coming. You kind of need to take that risk. There's not many out there. Like you could throw names at me. The only other one in my head that I'd be intrigued by is Julian Nagelsmann, because I think he had done a great job at Hoffenheim. Didn't get a fair go at Bayern because, as we were talking about earlier, there's politics, and they just fell out with the owners. But there's even talks about him going back to Bayern. So Nagelsmann would be my kind of choice, I think. But again, in terms of experience, there's not a large plethora of experienced guys out there that are available as well. Like I think they're all kind of taken by other clubs. But yeah,
I think I saw Ange was linked with a job.
I like Ange. I think he was a Liverpool fan when he grew up. Ange is a legend, and I think he's going to do good stuff at Tottenham. He's a great character, but I think, I don't know. Jesus, I don't know how Liverpool fans would feel about that. I think there's a lot of Celtic Liverpool fans as well, so they might like him. He's won a lot, but ultimately in the top league, he's still very unproven. I think he's done a great job at Spurs this season, and if you were to get top 4, he should be commended, because you've lost your best player ever in the summer, and he's kind of just brought you on. So I wouldn't be against Ange, but I don't think it's a likely thing.
What about, I read today that a number of Saudi clubs are looking at Mo Salah. Do you think it's not just losing club, it could be losing someone as potent, as dangerous, a match winner like Salah? Do you think it would be a good time if Salah goes to reinvent the style of play a little bit? Because you're not finding a like for Mo Salah. You're going to have to look somewhere else. And you think about Gyökeres, who's linked to Arsenal. If you do get Amorim and you sell Salah, maybe it's about moving those goals into a central area. Maybe you look at someone like a Gakpo leaving as well, and then trying to bring a little bit of what Amorim has been using at Sporting Lisbon to replace those goals. Because losing Salah is also going to be a bit of a stinger in the tail, really, isn't it?
Yeah, every Liverpool fan on earth adores Mohamed Salah, and he has been, revolutionary for us for the last 7 years. He's unbelievable, but I must admit, this season his powers have waned. He's not the same player. He's not, and Liverpool fans are going to look at me now and give out to me, but it's very true. He doesn't impact games like he used to. And the last couple games, especially, I'm kind of getting a bit disillusioned by him. But I do think he will go in the summer, because I think with Klopp leaving, it's kind of the perfect time for a lot of guys to go, because they don't want to maybe linger on past their sell-by date, maybe go out on the top. Hopefully, we've already won something. Maybe we'll win the Europa League, so it'll be a good time to go. I do think he's chasing records, and he won't accept being second fiddle to anything that Amorim's going to bring in. So I think Salah will go in the summer, and I think Saudi are going to offer a lot of money, so that could help.
You got to take it, surely. Like, if you look at players are available, like we've been linked with Santiago Jimenez until the cows come home. That name pops up everywhere. Now Arsenal linked. If you were to get him, I'd go all out for someone like Rodrigo on that right hand side, and get a number 9 who can, like, the brilliant thing. What Arteta and Alonso have done is they've just got goals everywhere. Like, if you look at Leverkusen's fullbacks, I think they've got 15 goals combined in the league. Liverpool need to adopt that, not just relying on Salah. Like, I know you've got other players that have scored a lot of goals this season, but it's kind of like when you're chasing games, give it to Salah to get you that goal. Like, you want goals from absolutely everywhere.
It's a tough one to even talk about, because it is Mohamed Salah, and him leaving is going to be a dark day for the club because he's such a legend. But everyone has their day. Everyone's day comes. You know what I mean? And I just think it'll be a good time. I just hope that it's with an extra Premier League medal, and I do think it won't just be Salah. Like, even the likes of Van Dijk, like, a lot of players are gonna be like, right, well, Klopp's leaving. Like, and
I think
a lot of them only know Liverpool as Klopp and Klopp as Liverpool. So it's going to be a very turbulent time for Liverpool. That's why I'm scared, really, and I want to kind of get the job done this season, because it's lucky we weren't expecting to be challenging this again. Nobody in this world thought we'd be challenging, no less like joint top, but joint with the top place team. So yeah, I do think Salah's going to go in the summer. I think Saudi are going to, because if you think about it, he's Muslim. He'd be king of the Arab world, so he'd be the perfect poster boy for the Saudi Pro League, and I think they're going to pay like 150 mil, if not more.
Yeah, I can see him going as well. And you've got to. When he's not finished or anything like that, but you've got to get people out when they're still at the peak of their powers to a degree, and just before that decline starts to begin. It's so important. But it's going to be such an interesting year next season for Liverpool, with all these changes coming, how they handle it. But I think bringing back in the backroom staff that you've done is going to be absolutely massive. So yeah, I mean, I personally feel like you're going to be okay. You may not win the league next year, but I know there's a lot of people predicting like a big fall off, no top 4, years in the doldrums. I'd like that to happen. Obviously, as a Man United fan, it would be amazing, but I don't see it personally. You're just too well run. You've got too many good players, I think, to just fall away that simplistically, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think you're right. When Ferguson left United, I think he left at a time when he knew, like, the backroom staff of United, not the backroom team and the upstairs team, it's very dodgy. It's getting better now, but at Liverpool, it's quite the opposite. It's a well-run ship. Some Liverpool fans like to give FSG some stick for their lack of investment at times, and I'd probably be one of them, but they do run the club really well. I think Klopp is leaving us in so much of a better state than we were in when he got here. So I think we won't fall off per se, but I don't think we'll be challenging for the title. I think it'd be foolish to predict that. I don't know when was the last time a long-term manager left and then suddenly, boom, you're straight challenging again. But yeah, I do think we'll fall off ever so slightly, but we'll still be up there.
Certainly will. Viewers, give us your thoughts, give us your feelings ahead of all of that. I want to give a big shout out, by the way, 5,000 people watching. I want to give a big shout out to our title sponsors tonight, Match Bingo. If you haven't taken any time yet to look at their products, look at what they do, you have to. It's one of the best games that you can play in the sort of the football sphere, as it were. It's just like normal bingo, but every free kick Every corner, every element of a game can mean something. I've just bought my ticket just now, as you can see, for the Newcastle Tottenham game. The reason I'm doing that is because they've got an extra big prize pool for you to win from, as you can see, over £1,000 to be won in there. But when you purchase it, this is what it looks like. You get your ticket, obviously it's 0-0 right now, and then you get all these little events underneath. So you see in the middle, it's one of the two teams to get a booking, and that's in any minute that ends with 6. There's got to be a goal in the 7th minute or 17th or 27th, 37th, along those lines. And it's just great fun during a football match to sit there and wait to see if these events come in. And if they do come in, as you can see at the bottom there, the first line wins you £25, the second line wins you £50. Normally, it's £100 for a full house and £100 bonus. But what they're doing for the Newcastle versus Spurs game, it's £100 for a full house. And the next person that gets a full house can also win it again. So there's over £1,000 being given away. And the great thing about Match Bingo is that you can select when you're setting up your account which charitable organization you want the majority of them proceeds to go to. So it's very much an organization that creates fun, yes. Equally, you can win some money. I personally give to the Stroke Association. You might want to give to Cancer Research. It could be the Alzheimer's Association. You might want to give to guide dog training. Absolutely your choice. But it's an amazing organization as well. So go and check out Match Bingo. Scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link below. Thank you very much indeed. Now, big Premier League weekend. We actually have a super chat I'm going to go to first because it's on that last subject that says Amorim is perfect in my option. It may even be a little Shankly Paisley like. He needs to bring who? Inacio, at least. Cheers. Thank you, my man, for that. I mean, it could be. You could repeat history again there. History likes to repeat itself. But a big game of a big weekend of Premier League games. And I know we want to touch on the title race, top 4 race, etc. We're not going to spend too much time on Man City versus Luton simply because I think we all know what's going to happen in that game, don't we? We all agree City are winning. No one sees a little bomber in that game, a little dagger. I'd love to say there is.
But City at home.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, they're low.
It doesn't matter if they're on Mars, mate. There's no world Luton are getting near them, unfortunately.
No, but at least at home they make it like exciting. Like none of our teams have gone there, and it's been like a smashing. Like,
yeah, well, in the FA Cup they played them at home. I think Haaland scored 5. So yeah, it's a done one for me. Liverpool versus Palace.
Oh, what is it with the inflection? Here we go again. Oh, Liverpool. No, it's a done thing, bro. We're winning that game. Let's be serious. If it was at Selhurst Park, don't get me wrong, I'd be a bit like, well, we're going to win. I know Kate's going to be there. No, I don't like Paddy. He's just so arrogant. I don't like it. But it's, I'm sorry, but we are going to win.
meant to be me there?
Yeah.
Okay, top of the morning to you, Paddy.
I don't like it.
That's the worst impression of me I've ever heard.
No, Kate, it's not. It's bang on. It's bang on.
Shut up.
Shut up. Drop me out. Shut it. No, he's spot on with that. So you think it's done? You're winning. No issues. Easy.
Listen, okay. I think Palace, they haven't really had the results under the new gaffer, but they've played some nice football at times. You know, went 1-0 up against City. Listen, I think we'll definitely concede. Is the history of the Liverpool. We tend to concede goals. Hopefully, Konate comes back into the starting lineup. I think he's starting tonight against Atalanta. But I think we'll win. Liverpool at home in a title race. It's our 3rd last ever game at Anfield with Klopp, which actually makes me feel ill. So I think any of those players, every one of those players will be playing like their life depends on it. And yeah, I think we'll get the job done.
Yeah.
Everyone agree with that?
Yeah, I think they'll win 3 or 4-0. I don't even think they'll concede. I think if you
a little scare.
I think they'll win convincingly tonight, and it will just be continuing the momentum. I think they'll breeze past Crystal Palace.
Yeah,
I don't see. I think Palace on the counter attack is strong, but nah, come on.
Yeah, the only thing that would change that for me would be if Liverpool struggle tonight. If Liverpool don't win tonight or end up having a really tough game, maybe that affects Sunday. But yeah, Generally, I'd expect them to.
It's Klopp's third last Premier League game at Anfield. If we lost any of those games, I'd actually feel sick. But
you are losing one of those.
I think Palace can be dangerous, especially at Selhurst. But I think we'll win.
Just Paddy. You are going to lose one of those home games.
No. Spurs are going to roll over for us. You know that, Henry. Kate and Henry. Spurs are going to roll over for us.
I think we've got Chelsea 48 hours before, so we're going to win one. I mean, Chelsea always turn up against us. I mean, it doesn't matter how bad they are.
We don't lose to Spurs. We don't lose to them. You never do.
Yeah, I've got a feeling we lose to Chelsea, but get something at Anfield.
Nah, don't, Henry.
It's what Tottenham do. It's what we do. It would be horrendous, but we'll get. I remember we won at the Etihad, and then the next week we lost to Burnley. Look at this season. We beat Villa 4-0 and they lost 3-0 to Fulham.
Yeah. Now, in my lifetime, Spurs have beaten Chelsea at Stamford Bridge once.
I was there. Ericsson dagger.
Yeah, it was once. That's the only time.
Outrageous goal, by the way. But yeah, with Palmer there, I think Chelsea will. I think they'll do what they usually do. But Liverpool, I don't know. It's just I'd love as much as Jurgen Klopp's been a great manager. I just want to throw a couple of. I'd love us to beat all three in the title race, just so it just makes it that little bit more interesting.
No, you want to beat Liverpool. You want to beat. You want to beat Arsenal, lose to us, and lose to City, so Arsenal don't win it. That's what you want, right?
No, but I don't want.
Of course.
Would you rather Liverpool or City win it? Because I personally, again, even though City, they'd win it 4 times in a row. I don't know no City fans, so I don't have to hear about it.
Yeah,
I don't plan on meeting. I don't plan on meeting more. If it happens, it happens. But
the thing about City fans is, obviously when I'm out and about, you might get spotted sometimes, recognized or whatever. Always, but it's always the young Irish lads in school. I support City. Shut up, man! It's so jarring.
They know as well. They see it as well. Big up those young men. You're not a City fan. You don't support them, but you guys are in some sort of Brokeback Mountain theme, bruv. The way you guys love each other, it's a madness, bruv. And I can tell you talk about them. You love City, Paddy. You proper do, mate.
No, wait, what are you talking about? I was about to go the opposite way there. I was saying that all the young lads in Ireland are growing up, and obviously none of us support our local, or very few do. So they're picking. All the young lads are picking City now because they're the best team in the world. That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying is, in 20 years' time, when we're all in the pub having a few pints, it's going to be City fans everywhere, man. And I don't want that.
I hear you. I take back my joke now. It's fallen very.
Yeah, I was like, what? No, I hate City, but
I thought I shouted at you. You're a City fan. Sorry, that's what I thought it was. That's what I thought you meant. No. Sorry. I thought that's what you meant. But
Brokeback Mountain.
Jerry, you're on Brokeback Mountain 3 with Arsenal fans.
Yes.
Listen, I'm comfortable. I went to watch that film. I had no idea I thought it was a cowboy film. It was. But I had no idea because I didn't. I did my little brother. My little brother turned to me. He was like, "What's it?" I said, "I don't know." I just was so confused. I was only young as well. My little brother's like 15 as well. He was like, "What you brought me to?" I was like, "I don't know. I don't know what's going on." Good film, actually. Very good film. I actually enjoyed it. But there we go. So I do agree. I tweeted and got stick for it from City fans and Liverpool fans because my tweet sort of said Arsenal have a big test this weekend against Villa.
Yeah.
Where I think Liverpool and City have got very easy games. And Rory, I don't know if you agree, but it feels like a bit of a pressured weekend for Arsenal because it's in between your Bayern Munich games, but your 2 title rivals have gimmies, very simple games at home against weak teams. So are you feeling the pressure and how do you think Arsenal will cope with it against Villa?
Yeah, I do think it's our turn to have the pressure. I think most weeks, it's kind of been one of the teams has a harder game and you're like, can they get through it? Obviously, Liverpool didn't get through the United test. City got past Villa, the kind of game week before that. But yeah, it's going to be tough. Look, we played last as well, which obviously means that by that point, we will be in third by the time we kick off. And Villa's going to be a tough game. I do think we're catching Villa at a good time. Obviously, they play European football tonight. Emery, historically, at this time of the year, when it comes to the league, just gives up pretty much and focuses on Europe. So, and they've also got injuries. Douglas Luiz is suspended. So, we are catching them at a good time, but equally, we had a big game on Tuesday. Thoughts, presumably, within the players' heads will be looking to to Wednesday against Bayern again. So hopefully we're just professional. Hopefully we see the same sort of performance that we saw against Brighton, where it's just turn up, play well, get the job done, and move on. But yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Let's hope if Saka's one-on-one with a keeper, he actually tries to go round rather than throw himself on the floor.
Well, let's hope he doesn't get fouled.
Oh!
Premier League referee gives that every day of the week anyway, so that'll be fine.
I don't think honestly, I don't think they do.
No, I don't either.
I don't think so.
They book him for being a cheating little twat. That's what they do.
Harry Kane specialised in leaving his leg in, and I bet you absolutely loved it. Did you ever call him a cheating
better at it than Saka, that's why.
Right, so he's a cheating twat.
So what Kate's saying is, Kate doesn't mind people committing fraud and robbing you as long as they're good at doing it.
Yeah.
No, because there was no way on this planet that was a penalty. Sorry, I've just got to put it out there.
Jim, if you're watching, speak to your lawyers. Your wife just said she likes cheats that don't get caught. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
I said Harry Kane was a master at it. I agree, but he's never done what Saka did there. That was pathetic.
Oh yes, he has. Oh yes, he has.
He had an open goal. He beat the keeper. Just go around in a spot.
He didn't dive anyway.
Even Ian Wright said it was a dive.
There was contact.
An Arsenal legend said it was a dive. Disgraceful behaviour.
Back to the game, Henry. That's all right, no problem. We're always allowed to divert. It's a podcast. We're not on We're not on a stupid TV show where they make you do 30 seconds and then you're gone. It's a podcast. Henry, do you see Arsenal winning this weekend, or can you see a good evening happening for the others?
No, I think they'll win.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I did. I think it won't be a comfortable anything like the Brighton game though. The nerves will be on big time. But I do think Arsenal win maybe 2-1. I think if they lose this game, they'll go into the Champions League game. I don't think they come out with something. If they win, even if it's just scraping through or whatever, because I think he has to rotate some players. I don't think he can go full strength. I think you may see Saka and potentially Rice out, and I think Partey may come back in, and maybe someone else on the right-hand side. But even if they do make those changes, they're still strong enough. Villa also play on Thursday. But I don't see a way in which Villa, they're going to cause problems, but like they're going to be focusing all in on that Conference League. Like as much as I want Villa, I want them both to lose. One, because Villa are very close to us in the league, and the other because it's Arsenal. But I just think Arsenal will get the win. And then they'll go into that Champions League game and it'll be all on that. If they don't get the win, though, then I think title race with the games they've got coming up, with Man United away, they're the ultimate party poopers. Spurs away is going to be a tough game for them. It's looking a bit peak tongue for them if they don't win this game.
Yeah, I think Arsenal will win it. It won't be. There'll be times where it won't be easy, but Villa don't have the best away record. They will be missing. I think Douglas Luiz is missing for the game, which will be a big miss for them in the middle. And I think Arsenal will just come out on top, like not by a country mile, but I think they will. And I'm not thinking about their Champions League game in terms of form, because Arsenal were a very different animal in the Premier League compared to the Champions League. I agree with David. They've looked nervous in all three of their knockout games so far. Saliba looks a completely different player. You almost see his immaturity and his sort of youthfulness coming through in those games, where in the Premier League, he looks like a pro because, well, obviously he's played 38 games a season over a couple of years. You play more games in the Premier in 2 years than most people ever play in the Champions League. So, of course, it takes a longer time to build your experience up. But I think Arsenal will get it done by a goal or two, I think, as well. And then the hope for Arsenal is they can get the goals early so they can make some substitution. You don't want to be grinding it out into the 98th minute of the game, knowing that you've got to play again on Wednesday. So, I mean, it's just typical of the Premier League, though. I know City are playing on the Saturday. How they've got Arsenal playing on the continent, we do it so much better, don't we? Where if you've got a team that's playing on a Wednesday in the Champions League, they'll try and get them on earlier in the weekend so they get an extra day's rest. We've always been bad at that, all clubs, but there we go. But I think Arsenal win. In terms of the title of the show today, I titled it Arsenal's Title to Lose. Does anybody, Henry, do you see it that way? Paddy, do you see it that way? Are Arsenal the favourites now because they're top in your opinion? Or when you just think about this weekend's fixtures plus many others coming up, it does appear they have the hardest run, even though they're top. How do you see it, Henry?
I think, yes, they've got the hardest run, but they're playing the best out of 3 teams. They look the most organised. Defensively, obviously they're the best. I mean, against Bayern Munich, they weren't, but they have got the hardest games. But if you want to be the best, you've got to beat the rest. It's as simple as that. What I would say is, though, is you look at Manchester City's fixtures and you look at Liverpool's fixtures. If you're a Liverpool fan, you're praying that Man City get Arsenal in the next round of the Champions League. If that scenario does happen, I think Liverpool win the Premier League, because those 2 games will be hammer and tong, and it will take absolutely everything out of those teams. That, for me, will write Arsenal's title off if they do get Man City in the next round. I think, in a weird way, they're better off getting Real Madrid. I don't know why I'm thinking like that. I look at Man City; they've got very easy fixtures, but they don't look as Man City as the last recent years. And Liverpool are wasting so many chances. They've had, I think, 90 shots in the 3 games against Man United this season, and I think they've scored twice. Like their record is, in terms of wasting chances, is ridiculous. But Arsenal would be looking at it, take each game as it comes. If they play the best they can, then they'll win the league because they're out in front for a reason.
Yeah, I was just, as you were talking there, I was just like getting the fixtures up and like making my predictions. But I'm looking at it. I think Arsenal have been the best side. They're so strong defensively, and Arteta, like I've tried to deny Arteta's brilliance for as long as possible, but you have to give him credit. Like the time in which he's turned Arsenal into a severely, severely good title challenging Premier League team is commendable. And I do think they're favourites. However, I would say Arsenal on paper have the most difficult fixtures left. I think going away to Spurs in the North London derby is massive. And I think going away to United, who could be still in the Champions League chase, is massive. And also Chelsea at home. I don't know, as much as Chelsea are shit, they have something for some teams. Like sometimes they do kind of turn it on, especially in the big teams. But if Arsenal do come out with those fixtures, they deserve to win the Premier League because that run is mad. But I do think my prediction is they'll lose to Spurs away. I think Spurs have something for us. The mighty Spurs. And I think they'll draw to United as well. I do think City are going to win every game, and I think Liverpool are going to win every game, but draw to Villa. Liverpool champions. That's what I'm thinking.
To be fair, Paddy, Arsenal got Wolves away as well, I think, which is never an easy game, to be fair.
And the Wolves away game is 3 days before the Chelsea game as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, do perform against the Big Six as well. Like I went there this season, like we were 1-0 up, and then 3 minutes later we're 2-1 down. Like they're a very unpredictable team, Wolves.
And again, like Chelsea, it's like if Disasi shows up and he's celebrating every tackle, you might be in a bit of bother because that's just how Chelsea works. I'm telling you now, I could give you. I've literally named Disasi as a random player. If Conor Gallagher, if he who shall not be named shows up and scores 2 goals, then you just don't know. You don't know what's going to show up at Chelsea. You could beat us 8-0, and I'd be like, I completely get it. But if we beat you 4-0, I'd be like, I understand. But honestly, it's that volatile.
I think City's only tricky game really is Spurs away. Because we tend to do well against City. And Liverpool, you've got Villa away and you've got Everton away, who, to be fair, are absolutely fighting for their lives. It's a derby and they've lost more points. So that tends to unify them. So that's not easy.
Yeah, like I do worry about that game because it is a derby and Goodison creates a raucous atmosphere. But they are just so unbelievably shit. So I'm hoping that their utter shitness outweighs their will to live.
I don't think Liverpool get through the run of... So from next Thursday, you go to Atalanta away. And in the space of 9 days, you've got 4 away games, including Atalanta. You go away to Fulham on the Sunday, away to Everton on the Wednesday, and then away to West Ham as a lunchtime kickoff on the Saturday. If you can get through those 3 away Premier League games in that short space of time,
those 3 away games in a row is rough. And I was looking at that and I'm like, on paper, those games are very winnable. But in reality, given the context, it'll be very tough. But I think
by the end of that, you're out the title race, in my opinion.
Don't say that. Don't say that, Kate.
I don't want it. I just see it. But you can do my accent now if you want and say, it's because you're arrogant.
I hope so, because honestly, Liverpool fans are so arrogant. Really, really arrogant. You, Paddy, as well. You're very arrogant.
I can't deal with Liverpool or Arsenal in the league. I just can't do it, honestly. You're both as bad as each other. I just don't like you.
Let's have a look at some of these super chats here. First one says, not favourites, least experience, hardest running against two of the best teams in the world. I still think we're third favourites. Next season could be our season, though. I agree with that. As much as they've been the best team, it's really interesting that a lot of people that are saying they're the favourites, whenever you hear them talk about Arsenal, speak about all their flaws and problems and don't attribute that to the others. I just don't think they can be, even though they're top right now. But obviously that's not going to suit everybody's narrative because some people want to be able to say they failed. Liverpool dropped points against Spurs and Villa is what Uche has got to say here. Thank you, Kate. We tried to tell Terry it's not a pen. I know you did. We did a poll though on live with thousands of people watching, and 49% said penalty. I think about 16-17% said they were 50-50, and the rest said no. So yeah, it is what it is. It split everybody's opinions, but still no one's been able to answer me the question. Why, if Saka was looking for contact and threw his leg out, why didn't he dive? Why did he try to stay on his feet and get to the ball? I don't get it. Why did his back stay upright? Everyone that dives, and all our players do it, Kane's the best. When they throw that leg out, what does their body start to do? They start to fall and they arch their back, and that's what divers do. Why didn't it? That's the only bit I don't understand, and still nobody's been able to answer me that question 2 days later. There's no way in hell Saka and Rice arrested 2-0, is what Uche says.
What? Hang on, why? Without Saka and Rice, they could still beat Villa, and they've got the biggest Champions, like a massive Champions League game. Plus, Saka's doing that, normal limp he does at the end of every single game. So, like, why can't they rest Saka?
To be fair, Manuel Neuer's leg's quite hard, so if I kicked it, I'd probably.
No, but okay, fair enough. But why can't they rest Rice and Saka?
We can, but it's just not the way that Mikel Arteta does things. And by the way, on Saka, that limping thing pissed me off because he was limping before that happened. He did something that hurt himself about 10 minutes before full time, which was like innocuous. He crossed the ball in, and I think he just caught someone else's foot as he crossed it in, and he was heavily limping after that. And then everyone started waffling about how he was limping because of the penalty.
What is? I've seen it, and I just haven't got involved. What is this issue, Henry, online? Everyone's got with him limping. What's the problem with it?
So every time that Saka, the narrative is every time Saka has a bad game, he then limps to fake an injury. And there's
Saka didn't even have a bad game. That's the most mental thing about it. Game.
I'm just saying that's what the narrative is. If you go on to the socials and just type it in, there's games back to 2020 when he hasn't had a great game and he just limps off. So the narrative is like, why?
Just get kicked off the park most games. That's why.
Bless him.
Yeah.
We should really stop kicking Saka because
hashtag save Saka.
Yeah,
man. We should make that trending.
Everyone's bullying him. Yeah.
Kane was booked for diving against Malta. Malta is what Charles says here. It's true.
Big up Malta.
17-18, Salah not injured. Different game against Real Madrid, in my opinion. Yeah, he shouldn't have. Yeah. Do you know what I did? I don't ever like seeing anyone get hurt, and I always rave about Salah. But do you know what annoyed me about that injury? Is how Mo Salah initiated the Barney, got dunked on, and everyone was like, oh, Ramos is such a bully. It was just a note in life. Don't mess with people that are bigger and stronger than you. It's a general rule. Leave them alone. Because
what I think is quite funny is how like every single person when it happened was like, well, all the Liverpool fans were like, oh, Sergio Ramos has purposely like done his shoulder in. I'm like, bro, UFC fighter. Like, come on, man. Let's not do that.
I follow a lot of those fight accounts on Twitter where just random fighters upload. The amount of times you see this skinny little dude give it the big one to a doorman and the doorman lays him out. And I just think, how are you not been educated by your dad that you don't give it the big one, typically speaking, one, to people that are bigger than you, and two, definitely if you're not a good fighter. You just keep your mouth quiet and you keep it close. Salah started on a bigger, stronger man and got done. And I remember that the fallout from Liverpool fans, they wanted him banned. They wanted him refused entry to the country. I swear there was protests. There was everything. I love Liverpool fans. You man are crazy. Crazy. We're taking no chances. They will come out 2-0 up. Yeah, I agree. I don't think it'll take any chances. Biggest diver, Suarez or Kane? Well, the biggest cheat of all of them is Suarez.
Respect Suarez, my
yeah,
God.
A cheat, a biter, and a racist. Who can support
Suarez
that?
is like bottom 5 footballer. Or
Baller though.
No. He's a great baller. He's a great baller, but not a very nice man.
Yeah, no, I can agree.
Yeah.
Ghanaians do not like Suarez.
Bruv, I mean, when he celebrated when they saved that penalty. Oh, God,
yeah.
That was one of the moments where you were like, "Oh my days!" Like,
That's
all this
crazy.
All this Arsenal hate. I smell another video, T-Dog. Well, there's nothing that's been said on here that's hate. It's what's been said on here is banter. It's when Simon Jordan does what he did the other day, where he moans on the same one episode that Man United spend money and they waste it. It's a disgrace to football. He then, when Arsenal improves, says, "Yeah, but they spent money to improve, so that's not impressive." I can't not call that out because it isn't about Arsenal per se. It's a precedent you're setting for everybody, and everyone has to call that out. And then he said something along the lines of, "Yeah, but Liverpool and City aren't as good now as they were at their best." But you can apply that logic to every champion ever, theoretically. If previous champions or previous great teams hadn't have declined, you wouldn't be where you are. So you have to call those things out because do you know what it is, Shawnee? It's detrimental to Liverpool as well as it is Arsenal. Fun fact, 4 of the 6 managers in the Champions League in Xavi, Pep, Luis Enrique and Arteta all got connections to Barca. Also with Amorim, I still expect top 4. Oh yeah, you've got to have at least that. What I've heard from a lot of Liverpool fans, Paddy, is they're pushing this. It's a rebuild. It's a 5-year plan nonsense to try and get away from expectations. Liverpool can't do that, surely.
No, I think no. We'll be looking to go straight back again. We're well placed to go for it. Well, I don't know if I'm in the minority, but like I genuinely mean this. If we win the league this year, I really just don't care anymore. I'm happy. I'll put my feet up. I'll go to the beach. I'll have a pint and I'll be chilling. Like whatever happens, you know.
I hear you completely. Obviously, another big game this weekend. Newcastle Spurs. That's the game that I've picked to buy my match bingo card for. How'd you see that one going? That the form's very interesting. You're both in the same order. 1 lost, 1 drew, 1. So 3 wins in your last 5 games. It's at St. James's Park. What are you saying, Kate? Are you confident, or do you see, because they've had a little bit of a turnaround of form recently, Newcastle? Do you see them beating you?
If they had a full squad, I would be very nervous, particularly after what they did to us last season. But I think they've got something like 11 injuries. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I never like to be confident because this is Spurs and you still don't know which Spurs are going to turn up. But we should have enough to beat them. So, like I say, had they have had all their I mean, I don't know if Isak's playing or whether he's out as well. But Newcastle, he is playing. A Newcastle fan did send me a list of all their players that are out, which is a lot. So, but it won't be easy. It's going to be tight. I think it's going to be won by a goal. But I am quietly optimistic we'll beat them. That's as confident as I get at the minute.
These Tottenham fans, they're so egotistical. It's crazy.
Oh, shut up.
I think it'd be a tough game, though. I think the way Newcastle's set up and with Isak in the form he's in, I mean, for me, he's absolutely class. Like the way he's got that knack of opening up his body and wrapping it in the far corner. With us, though, like, I think we've had 2 clean sheets since mid-December. So 3 clean sheets. I think the only team that have kept less is Sheffield United. So Newcastle will be looking at that and thinking, we can score here. Obviously, last season, it's a completely different team. We're a lot more, I don't want to say stable because we're a bit like rock and roll football, but I do think we beat Newcastle. I think they haven't lost a game. I think the last time they lost was middle of Jan, and that was against City. So they're going to be up for it. They beat West Ham, a nice little comeback from being 3-2 down. But I do think that with Son for this game, if he turns up, I think we beat them. Like, you can forget about Werner's only crossing ability or whatever, or Johnson. I think if Son turns up, Like, we need him this game because if we beat Newcastle, Villa have got Arsenal. I think top four's done. Like, with the fact Villa will be looking at Europe, I think we finish fourth, and that's a good first season for Ange.
Yeah, you're getting to that point. If Villa, I agree. I think Newcastle will do you though.
Nah,
they're gonna beat you 2-1.
Nah.
I think we win 2-1. I think it is such a tight game, but I
think there'll be more goals. I think this could be quite easy 4 or 5 goals in this game because no team can. Like, we can't keep a clean sheet for Toffee. You put it doesn't matter what if you're a betting man, the easiest bet in the Premier League is both teams to score. Tottenham have scored, I think, in 41 games in a row in the Premier League, but we haven't kept a clean sheet. I think other than Villa, I think Nottingham Forest was the last clean sheet we had, and that was in December. We just can't.
It's not in a row because we didn't score against Fulham. That broke our little games in a row.
It did. Yeah.
It
was
but we were
until
before then.
We scored.
Yeah.
But right now, like I think Newcastle are a good side. But if we want to be playing the Champions League next season, we've got to go and win there. Like, let's get some revenge for getting absolutely slapped last year. Like, horrendous game of football. Isak just dunked on us. I mean, Murphy's absolutely trash, and he's scoring 25-yarders against us.
Up to Murphy.
He scores worldies always. I don't know how he does it because he's a terrible footballer.
Yeah, he's trash.
I've never watched that game because Jimbo and I were in church watching my son do something in church, and they were playing When the Saints Go Marching In, if you please, while we was in there, and we looked at the score and we were just like, what? And it just kept going up and up and up. And I've never ever watched that game or the highlights or any of it because it
could have been 8-0 down in the first half.
What great irony! You were in church, the house of God, while your team was in hell.
Exactly Terry.
It's amazing. That game, that day of that game as well was my son's 3rd birthday party, and I had the game on my phone, and I went to do something for the kids, and then came back, and it was like 4-0. I went, "What the hell happened?" I was only gone for like a few minutes. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, it was a pummeling. But listen, Spurs are a good team. I still think you're making top 4. I'm just looking at your away record and their home record, and they've been hard to beat at home of late. A little bit unlucky in the Everton game, really. The comeback against West Ham, and you look at your away form. You drew with Man United, you drew with Everton.
But the bigger teams, Terry, like we've done all right. We've drawn at City and
Arsenal. I do agree. I do agree. I just feel like, again, I think it will be a draw at best. I think it could be similar to the West Ham game, if that makes sense, and whatever else. But I still think you're making top 4, even if you lose this weekend. I still think you'll finish. I think you'll make 4th from this point. I know a few Spurs fans predicted you would finish above Arsenal even only 2 game weeks ago, which I thought was a very strange prediction, but they seem to. But yeah, I'm going to go with a Newcastle 2-1 win in that game. Gotta love how YouTubers can call professional footballers trash.
He's trash at the elite level.
Like, that's exactly what we mean.
Standard.
That's exactly what we mean. We're talking,
he's trash.
Yeah, we're talking the elite end of the spectrum. We don't mean literally rubbish at football.
I'm terrible at football, like woeful.
I can imagine. You give me those vibes.
Yeah, I'm not great.
I've seen you walk.
Yeah, no, I'm.
There's certain things I look for in people, and you think, they're going to be good at sports. First, you haven't got this, but if a man's got like slightly bowed legs, don't pick him to do any kind of sport. If his legs are a little bit bowed, he ain't doing nothing. Also, when a man sits, if his feet like turn out to the side of it like a penguin, don't ask him to do sports. Always look at those little things. That's always a telltale sign whether someone's athletic or not. Honestly.
Or if they have massive man tits.
No, but that's because you might. No, what I mean by that is that's true. Like, one of my best mates, a good footballer, elite level kickboxer, he's put on a few pounds like I have over the years, but they're still underneath it. The athleticism is still there, bruv. Do you know? And by the way, Ricky Gervais proved that in his last season of Afterlife. You actually see him; he can still like move around and hit tennis balls now, even though he's a big, he's still
pretty agile.
He's still pretty agile. After he did sports when he was younger. If you're athletic, you're athletic. You just might not be cardiovascularly very fit.
There's
a difference. Trust me, I'd pick someone that's got a few extra pounds on their body that looks athletic over someone with bowed legs whose feet point outwards. I wouldn't. I'm prejudiced against them bowed legs. I'm telling you, like my kids, they're getting older. I look for it. I'm like, see if the kids have got bowed legs because I want them to be good at sport, right? And I'm so scared one of them knees are going to come inwards. I am because they're not going to be good at sport. But there we go. There we go. Why someone says Aquilani? I don't know what this means. Did he have bowed legs? Oh God! Someone wrote a comment and it's just done me. I can't put it up because I don't know if it's true or not. Bowed leg footballers are elite. No, I've never seen a footballer whose legs bend inwards in this angle. I've never seen someone who, when they stand, I haven't ever seen anyone line up for the national anthem and their knees are further back, are offside. The back of their knees are never offside. I've never seen it. Rivaldo was bowed-legged. He was brilliant. Now, was he? I've got to have a look at his legs now. Rivaldo legs. He ain't got. I'm looking at him now. Those legs don't look bowed to me. He's no, because I'm gonna. Bowed leg. Nah, see, when you see a person with bowed legs, you know. It's different. They can't even walk. You got bowed legs with a baby. The legs still like big baby legs. That's what it looks like. They do. It's crazy. I'm just saying. You're picking a team at school. Look out for both legs. Anyway, have you seen Tomiyasu? Let me see Tomiyasu's legs. Tomiyasu's
oh my God.
legs. My search history is going to look mad now. His legs ain't that bad either. Google it, like you'll see what I mean. And it's the feet pointing out to the side as well. Straight, it freaks me out. Trent has bowed legs. Trent does not have bowed legs. He doesn't. I guarantee you, most athletes don't. Do you know who does? Who's a freak of nature? And I can't believe he's so good as an athlete. He's not. Tyson Fury has bowed legs. For me, he shouldn't be doing what he's doing. When you look at his legs.
I can't wait for you to tell him that, Terry, to his face.
No, I wouldn't. He's like an exception that proves the rule for me. Anyway, we swiftly move on. Super chat here says City, Liverpool, Arsenal will spank Spurs. City draw to De Zerbi and Fulham. Liverpool draw to Fulham and Wolves. Arsenal draw to United or Chelsea. Villa top 4 is what Robert Peoples says here.
What is he smoking? Like Villa is still in Europe. Unai is going to look at that and think that's the priority, not top 4. And when have City ever spanked us at our own ground? They beat us once in 6 years, which is 1-0. Like, when have Arsenal spanked us at our own ground? Last season was a training session, fair enough. It wasn't a spanking. But, yeah, each to their own. Liverpool, on the other hand, they've given us a few right-handers, yeah. And we've just about been saved by the bell like Buster Douglas. But...
Just on the bowed leg things, I don't mean when the legs curve a little bit at time. I'm talking about when someone stands up straight, their knees bend backwards. That is more what I mean. More so than
if I've got them.
Stand up with your legs straight and let's see.
They're not going to see much. No, I'm all right.
I thought you about to pull your trousers down there.
No. There's other platforms available out there if you want to do that.
I read the terms of service. No, I'm good.
All I saw was Kate take her glasses off. She's like, oh, hang on.
I'm all right. I'm good.
I've got long vision issues, not short-sightedness. She's ready. It's going to go down to the wire this year. I can honestly see all 3 teams losing points from now to the end. I think you're right, George. I think they will. Saka embodies Arsenal. He came through our system. He's very good, and he is the face of our club. The hate for Arsenal is directed at him. Come on, you gooners. I think all top players get all big clubs. Top players get scrutinized massively. I agree. Listen, everybody that has tuned in, I want to say a big thank you to all of you. Go and check out Match Bingo now. As I said earlier, it's an amazing game to play, and a lot of the proceeds go to charities of your choice. I'm doing Spurs Newcastle this weekend, so we'll see what our results are on the Match Reaction show there. Back later tonight for Match Reactions for the Europa League, and tomorrow Straight Facts with Staffy and Hussam. Until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you.